C1Music.fm. Let's talk about it. It's your host for the evening, Aaron Robinson, and my co-host, Jennifer Evans. What's good, Jen?
Hi, everything's good.
Good. Today our topic is titled Soul Ties. Soul Ties. So technically, this is our first episode of Let's Talk About It for this new year. Although we did record a podcast prior to it.
Right.
This is technically our first official podcast of the new year. So Jen, what you want to tell everybody about you, being that this is not your first time potting, but your first time on being promoted.
The first one
show.
on the books.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, I'm Jennifer Evans. Some people know me as Patrice. I'm a nurse, registered nurse. Been that for 18 years, going on 19 years. Different specialties. I have 7 children, 6 grandchildren, married to a wonderful husband, Lyndon. Yeah, that's about it. Love God. I'm good.
Definitely. So for future references for everybody, me and Jen is cousins. Our mothers are our sisters, and we decided to do this pod. I think it would be fun. We have some views that are typically the same, and then we both like to talk. So I figured it'd be bliss of heaven for us to collectively join on this show. So today we got 3 topics that we're going to expound on today. The first one is a topic of dealing with, well, the question was raised, how do you feel about Christians promoting divorce? And the reason why the topic came up was because Israel Houghton's wife, Adrienne Bailon, Houghton is if y'all don't know the history of her, she's an American television personality, singer, and actress. She was or is a former one of the girls from the 3LW group in the Cheetah Girls. And she was a co-host of the daytime talk show, The Real, for which she has won, a daytime Emmy Award. And like I said, she is married to Israel Houghton, who is a prominent praise and worship leader in the Christian arena. And right now, his wife is hosting a TV show called Love for the Ages, which she was excited to be the host of. Now, if y'all not familiar with this actually is a last year show. I never knew about the show coming out. I think it's on Peacock Original. So if you don't have the app or whatever, you probably didn't know. But on the show, there are 3 middle-aged couples that have come to a crossroad in their marriage, and they get a chance to turn back time and swap their current spouses for much younger partners, which will allow them to see what life could be like before deciding to either return to their marriages or legally split. And the series is described as a social experiment based on the current trend of age gap couples, which is usually referred to an age difference for at least 10 years between partners. Now, when I was put hip to this, I was immediately caught off guard. So I'm like, well, hold up. She is she put her name out there, her and Israel, they're Christians. They supposedly have a beautiful marriage and so on and so forth. And when I seen the interview and stuff, I said, yo, she's actually excited about breaking up families. Like, how does that work? So I guess our question is, for one, I want to talk about her role in this, and then in general, should Christians be promoting and hosting a show like, should even a Christian be on a show like that? Whether you are hosting it or whether you are even one of the people that are participating in the social experiment. Cuz, what you think about it?
Okay, so it's not lost on me that they chose her for this. I think it's due to the fact that, like, when her and Israel Houghton got together, it was kind of shortly after him and his wife had, decided to separate ways. I think he lost his position as the minister of music, like at his church.
Yeah.
When
I think so.
all that went down.
Right.
And then when it popped up that he and Adrienne Baillon were an item, then it went back to, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, is it stem from that? Did this go on before then? Because when they had met, actually, and were friends, he was still married. So it was like this big thing. I think it wasn't lost on her for her to be a host to this show because there's an age gap. I think there's like 13 years between them. Like, he's like 51 and she's like in her late 30s.
Okay.
I think it's like 13 years. I think she might be 38 and 51, something like that. So, and the show, it's like you have these middle-aged couples, and then when they introduce their other person, it's like a person that's younger, a lot younger than like either the husband or the wife. So I think that wasn't lost on her, and that's why they chose her, because of her whole history with Israel Houghton and all that stuff. But this to me is the easy one. Like, if she's professing to be a Christian, then why in the world would she be a host for this show? Like, it doesn't align. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Doesn't go. Not at all. It's like day and night. So, I mean, because of the fact that these people are like, they're married. So the couples are married, but they're actually in the show, they actually live with someone else, almost like as this other person were their husband and or wife. And so situations come up. If you put in there when the clip that I saw, these young ladies are in bikinis. The young men, they don't have like 2-packs like, the husbands do, the wives, they have like 6-packs. So they're not ugly looking people either, So, and then they're coming on to them. Yeah, they're setting them up. So like, why would you even, want to be a part of that? But it is what it is. Each man for themselves.
Now, so they supposed to be having I guess the reason why I came across my dashboard is because I think they're supposed to be having a reunion. So I don't really know the outcome of the 3 couples and if they actually stayed together or not. But I mean, you bring up a very good point in regards to her and her relation to Israel and how that all played out. Kind of like, if you want to paint a picture, it's kind of like she was the young girl.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why they picked her for that.
Stealing the husband of Israel's, ex-wife or whatever the case may be.
Yep, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Them picking her or asking her to be the host, and it's not lost. It's not lost on the fact that they chose her because of that situation, or that's what it seemed like to me. Because when I think of Israel Houghton and Adrienne Baillon, I kind of like, oh wow, because it's tainted. To me, their relationship is kind of, for me, it's tainted by all that. Like, you knew him before, and
yeah, I feel you.
Yeah,
that's deep though. I never really thought about that from that perspective. That's a good analysis right there. But period, for me, I think that if you are professing to be a Christian, you shouldn't be promoting this show at all.
Yeah,
that kind of even if she didn't do all of that kind of questions your character. Especially as a professing Christian, kind of just questions your character in general. Just like even him, like from the videos I've seen, he was very supportive of doing the show. And I'm like, yo, that's not wisdom at all, man. Like,
but there's a lot of, not to go away from this show, but there are a lot of shows out here that are like, I'm surprised that Christian leader or people like, oh gosh, I can't think of that. There was this show that I watched and it had, what's the latest thing? The Battle Is Not Yours. Oh gosh. Anyway, she was in there and she literally cursed. She said a curse word like on the show. And I was like, was it really worth that? Like, was it really worth that? I mean, was, your fortune or you keeping your name relevant, is it really worth compromising your testimony?
Yeah.
Like, that's your life is your testimony. So what you do day in and day out speaks more than confess with your mouth. You understand what I'm saying? You can say you're a Christian all day, but if you host a show that says otherwise, that speaks otherwise, then I'm going to go with that. Like more and so. I'm not here to judge. Like I said, I don't have no hell to put anything in, whatever. To me, yeah, you gotta, your works, right? I wouldn't be involved in that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be on the show. My husband was like, let's go on this show. I'm like, well, you must want divorce. So.
Yeah, I feel you 100%. Yeah, I think that is crazy too.
It's crazy that she would even want to do that. And it's crazy that he would, to me, that he would support that.
Support it, yeah. Support it. As a like you said, as a married couple, could you even see anybody volunteering to even be on the show? Because I think you're right. I've seen a couple of pastor shows, was it Pastors' Wives or whatever the case may be, where they were kind of like promoting stuff or saying things and doing stuff that you was kind of questionable. And it's like, yo, you come with like, you're going to put your life out there on blast, on TV or whatever. You're going to be held to a different standard. And, your accountability level got to be on an all-time high.
Yeah.
So you're going to be accountable for the things that you're promoting, the things that you do, the things that you say.
Exactly.
And, I mean, even for him to be a prominent, worship leader and people sing songs and stuff like that, to then be in a situation to where you have your wife and being very supportive of her doing the show, instead of really like, I wonder how that conversation between them two actually went. Did he originally say, no, don't do it, and then she wanted to do it, so he had to just give in and say, yeah?
I don't know, but the end result is, I mean, I didn't see where he was like, I'm all for it, or but the end result is they're still together and she's doing it, so he's okay with it. Ultimately, he's okay with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good with that, but
no, I wouldn't be either.
That's crazy. So if your husband had said that he wanted to be on one of them joints, you'd be like, yo, we just get a divorce.
What? Because that's really what you want. Like, just say you want a divorce. Just say you don't want to be with me. Because, like, there's so many other things we can do other than that. Like counseling. Shoot, let's go on a vacation. Let's do something. Why do I have to introduce another woman, or why do we have to introduce another man? Take off our wedding rings and pretend like we are together with those two. Why? Why should I have to pretend like I'm in another marriage? Then I might as well be in another marriage. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or let you go be in another marriage. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's for me.
Yeah, I'm not beef for that too, but I wanna ask you this question though.
Mm-hmm.
Just in your circle of friends that plus on top of that, they're gonna be able to get paid and make money off of it. Do you think you have any friends that would jump on the opportunity to get on a show like that?
No, I don't think none in my circle. No.
I don't know. In my circle, I don't know any immediate friends, but my extended people, possibly. But nah, I don't know if anybody that immediately coming up would be like, yeah, I want to jump on the opportunity to get on the show like that. But
right.
To me, depending on who it is, if the money was right, they definitely would do it.
Knowing everything, like most people that are on reality TV shows actually it seems like it dissolves their marriage. Like they end up not together most of the time, or you're in such a fishbowl. Like, why would I even? No, why would I even allow myself to be and put myself in that type of situation? Because
Yeah.
you're literally in a fishbowl. Like, people you don't know will make comments about, which is why I don't even do social media like that much. And my social media is pretty much private, because I don't want people that I don't know knowing my business.
So I have a question
And
for
having
you.
their input.
I have a question for you. Just interesting to know. Before we go into our second part of the discussion. So if you are a private person, what made you realize that you wanted to do some podcasting?
This is not podcasting because I like to talk. I mean, I like to talk and I like to share my opinion, and I like to I don't want to say, just have bounce off, of other people. Like I enjoy Bible study where what they got out of the scripture, or, in different conversation, because you can see different people's perspectives. I may have a perspective that you didn't like you just said, like you were saying, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. Maybe why they chose her, but that was the first thing I thought about. And then, and then there's other things, that, yeah, I love to talk. I like to talk. I like
Gotcha.
to, conversate with people. Yeah. But I'm not talking necessarily about myself, and you're not seeing my everyday life. You're not following me around with the camera. That's totally different.
I got you. That brings us to part two. Now, part two of our discussion. I was watching a podcast on Saturday, and I was trying to whip up, because I had a couple of different ideas of what we was going to discuss today. And then this just came across my screen. It was a man had asked several Christian women that was, quote unquote, practicing abstinence, or technically they were virgins, and they were asked this question. And all of the ladies that was in the panel discussion said no. The question was, would you marry a virgin man who is of the age of 40 or 40 or over, and he was a virgin? And all the women, surprisingly enough to me, all the women on the show, or that was talking on a podcast, said that they would not marry a man at 40 years old that was a virgin. Some of them said that they felt that was kind of weird. They would want to ask more questions and find out what's wrong with the person, and these were Christian women.
That's crazy.
These were Christian women. So my first question to you is, do you agree with these men, or you disagree, and why?
No, I disagree. I think that if there was a man that had that much, what do you call it? Restraint, that much, he was that dedicated to his life and purpose with living for God, that he was able to withstand temptation for 40 plus years. Yeah, I'm good with that. That's my man. Because he's going to make wide decisions on other things. He's not going to go by his emotions. He's not going to go by his feelings. The wind is not going to blow his emotions one way or the other. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So you're saying that speaks to his character? That
speaks to his character for sure. 110%. Yes. Give me the 40-year-old version.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Now, it was funny because a couple of the women was making these comments. So I want to ask you what you think about these comments, and then I obviously chime in and tell you what I think. But one woman in the chat, because they had a live chat going on while this was going on. So one woman in the chat has said that if he's a good man and meets other requirements, that she will absolutely marry him, as they can work on having good sex as long as they don't have to work on his character issues. Like, he doesn't have any character issues. Pretty much kind of saying what you were saying.
I mean, yeah. Well, that goes with,
Secondly, a second woman was saying that she said, absolutely not. He needs to be able to lead me. So she equated
Mm.
leading her with him being experienced in the bedroom.
Wow.
You think that's crazy?
Yeah, I think that's crazy. Yeah, I think that's crazy. I think that's insane.
Another lady said that if she was 59 years old, or she's 59 years old, and she also had agreed she would not marry a virgin after 50 years of age. She thinks that's wrong with a person that's 50 years old and still a virgin.
Wow. And they go to church.
Yeah, these are all Christians. These are all people that were Christians that were saying that.
Wow.
And another lady said that she met a man who was very handsome and was 50 years old, and he was a virgin. And she said she was turned off. She was threw off by the situation of him being a 50-year-old virgin.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't. Mm.
So you don't see nothing weird or strange about that at all?
About a man that's able to, like I said, withstand temptation? No, but I'm feeling that this man also has other things together. I mean, because of that, because his character speaks to such. I mean, if he's dedicated to that, then he's a wise man in many things. So I'm assuming that this man had everything together. Now, let's say this. Yeah, if he wasn't, if he didn't have, if he wasn't effeminate, if he seemed feminine to me, it would be my only, like, wait a minute, hold up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I thought he was something else. But other than that, no, I'm thinking like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Meet you at the altar.
Now, they flipped the question around and asked men. And so the men stated that they wouldn't want to marry a virgin at all, period. It didn't matter if they were 40 years old, 20 years old, or whatever the case may be. And all the men said that they feel like once you go down that dark path, meaning that once they have sex, like they agree that, the Bible says that, you're supposed to stay, stay a virgin until you get married. They said, but once somebody slips down that dark path, that they feel themselves, if they was to try to date somebody who was married, who was not a virgin. I'm sorry, if they was a virgin or haven't dated a lot of people, that they feel like they would be the ones that are, screwing up their viewpoint on dating and things of that nature because the person is inexperienced.
Wow. Okay.
So, first and foremost, I'm going to be honest with you and speak my opinion. Do I agree with what they're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely do not agree. I think it's dope for anybody at any age to be a virgin. I think that's dope if you are a virgin or whatever the case may be. I think that's dope. But like I've had questions before with females who even came to me in just general conversation saying, hey, I'm practicing abstinence. And I'm like, all right, that's dope too. I'm like, so are you dating? And they're like, nah, I'm not dating. So I'm like, so how are you practicing abstinence? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't practice abstinence by not dating or whatever the case may be, but to me, practicing abstinence practically on a practical terms means that you are dating somebody and you are choosing not to have sex with that person or whatever the case may be, or even putting yourself in a situation to be tempted to. You know what I'm saying? But to me, if you're not dating anyone at all, you're not active or you just chilling and you're not practicing abstinence, you don't have this. To me, that's not practicing abstinence. That's my personal opinion.
But you don't need a person to not abstain from sex. So I think that in that way, maybe they're talking about, I'm not trying to be funny, but maybe they're talking about other things because then you can introduce pornography, sex toys, like stuff like that, because you don't need another person to have sex. You don't necessarily need another person. So that would not be And that's still not practicing abstinence if you do.
Right. And I agree. I'm going to say I agree with your statement. From that perspective, I agree with your statement. But in general terms for me, especially how people I was having a conversation with were promoting themselves, I'm like, fam, you're not practicing abstinence, man. You're not dating right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or whatever the case may be. I mean, do also have conversation with some of the people I was talking about had 1 or 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? And then they're like, yeah, I'm practicing abstinence now, da, da, da. And I'm like, yo, that's great. I'm not taking nothing away from you for doing that. That's cool. But I mean,
Right.
if we're being real about it, in my personal opinion, that's not practicing abstinence. Now, what I will say, and what I do agree with the men on this perspective as they was talking, I personally, I've been in situations where I've dated or tried to date somebody with little or no experience. And for me as a male, it's not cool. I don't really like it. As much as I respect the person, and don't get me wrong, I even respect the fact that they haven't put themselves out there, or maybe they were sheltered. I mean, there's many different reasons why a person haven't been put in a situation, but I don't know. When I was growing up, you know what I'm saying? Even if you wasn't a person that like had a lot of boyfriends, to me, you should at least experience the opportunity to date. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not doing that, then to me, you don't really, there's so many things about dating to me that you get to learn about yourself. And, you know what I'm saying? You get to experience what you like, what you don't like. Like I could tell you, like I remember my first real, quote unquote, real relationship that I had in college. Like I learned so much about myself, and also like kind of like seeing myself. Like if you would have asked me prior to like dating this young girl, if I ever would be in these type of situations, I'd be like, nah, never. And then, you know, because you caught up in your feelings and things of that nature, you find yourself doing stuff that you would never do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And just like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Arguing, having arguments, being petty about a lot that you sit. Now I sit back and look back and like, man, I was playing myself doing this. Or I don't know why, you know, I went for this or that and the third, you know what I mean? And to me, you just, with somebody who doesn't have some of those type of experiences, it's kind of, I do feel like what the men were saying, it's kind of, you don't want to be that, I guess, dark horse or whatever the case may be. And I also been in a situation where I was dating somebody who put themselves out there like they were innocent. I mean, innocent. And so I viewed them. Actually, this was a girl that I was even considering at one point in time, like marrying. You know what I'm saying? Like I view me and her. Now she lived in one location, I lived in another. Me and her was like really talking, and we traveled back and forth to see each other and stuff like that. And she put herself out there like, yo, totally Christian, da 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 da, this, that, and the third, right? And then one day we was on a phone late night, you know what I'm saying? Real late night. For me, it was super late because it was like a 3-hour difference. And I'm like, it's like 3 a.m. and I'm on we having our conversational pieces. I'm laying in the bed talking to her. And then she decided out of the blue to have a heart to heart. And then she started telling me all these things. And I'm like, oh, and my reaction to it kind of messed, like that kind of was the starting of the downhill of our relationship. But it caught me totally off guard. Because she painted this picture in the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
Of her being this, you know what I mean? Authentic. And then I'm talking about she had abortion before and this. I'm like, yo, what? And she felt some type of way about my response. But I'm like, yo, fam, I'm like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You woke me up, yo.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the first time you're hearing it. So they can't really
and this is like,
go by somebody.
It's like 7, 8 months into our relationship. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a lot invested into it already. Like
right. Exactly.
me and her traveled. Like, yo, this was the first. Not for nothing. Me and her traveled before. Like, Shorty was making me stay in separate bedrooms. You know what I'm saying? Yo, she called like a couple times. She called her pastor while we was at the joint. I'm like, yo, it's a little extreme for me, but
right.
All right, cool. And then you hit me with that. I'm like, yo, come on, fans. So I'm just saying, like, I say all that to say, I would have been even good if we was doing that. If she just would have kept it all the way on it with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my point that I'm trying to say is, like, I've dated people who, to me, if you don't have at least 3, 4, 5, even like 5 relationships under your belt, like, you don't just have enough experience under your belt to really, like, your feelings and things are kind of like you are a byproduct of your experiences. So if you only have 2 or 3 experiences, and you, like, people who dated somebody for, let's say 17 years old, from 17, and they dated that same person for 5 years. Like, even that to me is like, yo, at 17, why are you trying to be locked down at? You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, there's people who even got married at those ages and young and even doing it. It happens. It's all good. But I mean, like 17, I wasn't, we can say we dating, we can say we boyfriend and girlfriend, but yo, if I was going out with my friends, yeah, you know, and I was willing to take that L because I could bounce back at any time. You know what I mean? Meaning that I could find another girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like I said, I really, like, it wasn't until I was like 23 that I really, like, for real had my, like, serious relationship. And I learned a lot from that relationship. So I say all that to say, again, that I don't know. I wouldn't be comfortable dating somebody who didn't really have, it's not even about them being a virgin. I just wouldn't even, you could be a virgin. At least you got to have some, like, emotional experience.
Relationship.
Yeah, relationship experience. That kind of, like, is more of a turnoff to me, more so than them being a virgin or not.
Sure. Not me. I mean, I definitely have relationship experience, but I think that the whole, to me, it doesn't matter if they're a virgin, not a virgin. I think that realistically, when you're dating somebody, I think we all have the ideals, situations that we imagine this person to be something. We place them on this pedestal. I tell my friends, like, if you see something and like when you're going on the first date, like if your person picks their teeth and, like, you see it and it's like, oh, that's cute. But know that when you get married and it's, 2 years down the road and he picks his teeth every time after you're going to be like, that is somebody that I'm nervous. I can't stand this. So you have to look at people realistically. Like, they're not, like, imagine if you're dating this woman and she has this, like, she wears a weave, you better imagine her bald, or, I'm just saying, just get down to the real. Because that's what happens after you get married. You understand what I'm saying? Like, most of the time, once you get married, everything, all the veils drop. And things become real. Finances become real. Sex becomes real. How you view your views with raising children, whether you have or not. If you have a dog, is the dog going to stay outside, or inside the house? You're going to sleep in the bed. All that stuff becomes so real, where in the beginning, it's like, oh, that's so cute. Oh, he doesn't. That's okay. But you love dogs and you want, your dog is sleeping in the bed with you. Nah, probably your husband's gonna have that dog outside. Like, I think we should just be real, like, view things realistically, especially now. It was bad when we were growing up because we had, maybe Disney, but now Instagram and these little reels, of people showing you these wonderful lives. That is not it. It's totally not it, and it puts more pressure on people. Like, yeah, my husband is romantic in his own way, but he's not the bring me roses. And I'm not either. I'm not the bring me roses. Valentine's Day. But looking at Instagram, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Oh, look at that. He brought out those rose petals and spread them all on the floor, a whole trail. But I'm thinking at my house, realistically, I got to clean it up. See, to me as a man, I don't know. Of course, obviously, I'm not a man. But to me as a man, I think it would be more, I don't know. Because I think if I had a virgin spouse, to me, that would, in my mind, I would think if this whole experience was new to me, then I think I would kind of be more submissive. That to me, that would like, okay, he's going to be if they're making all these, if they're saying they don't want a wife, that is inexperienced or whatever, a virgin, to no experience, because they don't want to guide her. To me, that would be like, yeah, of course I do, because then if she's looking to that, then it might lend to her looking for me for other things, for God, because that's the head. He's the head. So to me, in my mind, I would think if I was a man and I had a virgin wife, then everything else might roll in smoothly. Because if I'm like, to me, if my husband, I ain't saying this is not me and my husband. let me preface it with that. But if I have experience as a sexually experienced, and me and my husband, and then he doesn't do something right for me, then that would be like, oh man, you don't know how to do it. Wow, you don't know that? You don't know that? You never. Oh wow. I would think it would be a lot more difficult, but I also think that you shouldn't go by like check off one thing, like, okay, sex, okay, that's good. He's good at sex. That's good, because great sex and horrible finances equal horrible sex to me. You know what I'm saying? If you're broke,
yeah, I feel you.
I don't need sex. You need to go to work, bro.
Yeah, I feel you.
Go to work. Nobody can move. Yeah, or great finances and horrible in the bed. Like I think that wouldn't look good either. So I think putting your eggs in one basket.
Do you think they're equally as important?
Oh yeah, I think equally. No, equally no. Because when it comes, because I'm going to say that we all going to get old, and I don't think even David, and we just talked about, even David, that little, the woman that stayed in his bed, or girl, whatever, she just laid there. He wasn't doing nothing. He couldn't do anything. So sex is not going to be a priority. It's not even going to be possible, more than likely. You can look for it, So that wouldn't be.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute, though, only because I agree with everything that you're saying, but I also understand the men's point of view, and maybe it's just because I can side with them because I'm a man, and also because of how I feel about what I said in regards to dating somebody who doesn't just have like relationship experience. Like I can see both point of views, and they both, to me, I lean more towards the side of saying, yo, I think, like I said, I think it's dope that if somebody's at 40 years old and a virgin, that you can praise them for that, and also motivate them and kind of give them, y'all can experience things together for their first time. But I also understand the other argument is saying like, yo, you don't know how to do that. Just like how you were saying it. And it's like, yo, you know what I mean?
But man to male, I think that's different. No, I don't know. Okay, well, I guess. Oh, you know what? I guess there's different aspects, and I'm now that I'm starting to put some thought into it, maybe so. Okay. I was just thinking, I was raised in the church, so I'm just thinking, what do you call it? Missionary. So yeah, I guess if you talk about other, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So
I want to have plenty of experience sexually and still be.
That is true. So
I
I
mean, I
mean, it
wouldn't do
is, you are. I go back to my statement I said before. You're molded and shaped by some of the experiences that you have. But needless to say, I mean, I think that still is dope for uh somebody to be 40 years old and be a virgin. Um, but I think that if you 40 years old and you're a virgin, and you then say, "I wouldn't marry another virgin," that's 40 years old too, is crazy.
You said that you wouldn't. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, for a 40-year-old person who is a virgin to then say that they don't want to marry somebody who's also, because some of the people on the show were like, yeah, I'm 40, they're 40-year old women who are virgins are saying they held out, but they don't want to marry a man who is also a virgin at their age.
that's big.
And so I think that, to me, y'all can experience life together. Y'all waited, so
Exactly. Yeah.
but some of the people were like, yeah, I'm not beat for somebody to say they were saving themselves for me.
Yeah. The world is.
So yeah. All right, our third and final discussion for this episode. And please, guys, if y'all listening to this before, after, whatever, we'll love to hear some of y'all comments. You know what I mean? In
Definitely.
response to that, so what I mean, we can even bring it back up for a future episode or whatever the case may be. But the next question and the final question of the conversational piece here, or topic, should Christian men and women care about the opposite sex having a lot of money when looking for a partner more than their faith? Meaning that instead of the person being more important, what's more important, their relationship with God or them having good money, having money to support each other or whatever the case may be?
Whoa. 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 Well, I mean, I'm gonna say, I mean, their relationship with God is of utmost importance.
All right.
So yeah, how they want to live their lives financially, because you can't expect, right? You can't expect to marry I don't know, someone that doesn't make that much money and live a lavish life, and you have to be your interest. What do you want? Because I've always told my kids, you define success as you're content, like what you're content with in life. However, you are content in life, in living your life. So whether that looks like you have to be a millionaire, and and you got to go on trips every month or whatever. If that looks good for you, if that's how you define success, then that's how you're going to have to choose your career. Choose your spouse, because they have to have a good career. So if yours doesn't add up to being able to achieve that goal, like they have to align. But definitely, if I'm a Christian, I want that person to be also have love Christ and desire to please God in all things.
I think for me, this conversation.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think this conversation is different for men and women. I think the financial piece is not as important to men as it is to women. Because most of the time men are looking for, I would say, what's the word I want to use? The Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So
Exactly.
the men who go out and establishes themselves when they're the proper way to go about doing it is, once you establish yourself and you are looking for a wife, you're looking for a wife to bring her into your kingdom. So whatever she brings to the table is just added value to what you already have. So some people go into it with the woman having more than the man, and not to say that can't work or nothing like that neither. You know what I mean? But to me, I feel more women are more, they're looking for a man most women I don't even say most. I would say 50-50. I don't know. It's up in the air. I can't really put a statistic on it, but some women are looking for men who are already established and who got it together on both ends of the floor, meaning that they are, have a relationship with God and they also, are financially set. And I think for some women, that is a requirement, for on both ends. It's just, well, we could say, quote unquote, Christian women. But for Christian men, I think it's more about them having a relationship with God, and they care more about that piece more so than they do about how much money the person makes, especially if it's somebody who is already well off.
Yeah, I mean, I think though, like you said, me or how I was raised, my father was always a provider. So, I mean, I want, yeah. So it's like I'm kind of molded in that way. When I was looking for, I do want a provider, but I also want somebody like, I'm going to say, when I met my husband, our first face-to-face encounter, wow, we sat down. We had already talked about like, does he, do you go to church? Yes, you go to church. You say all that stuff. The first thing he asked me, he was like, listen, he was like, so we met. Yeah. He asked me, what was I looking for? He asked me, what was I looking for? And I was like, what am I looking for? And he was like, yeah, what are you looking for? Are you looking to, do you want something serious? I was like, well, what are you looking? Do you mean, like, I said, I'm looking for something, like, I'm getting old. I'm looking for marriage. Like, if you want to date, and just, date other people and have something casual, like have somebody, like when you want to go out to eat, oh, let me call her, because she, that's not what I'm looking for. And he was like, me either. I'm looking for someone for marriage. And from that day, like from that point on, that's how we moved. It's like, okay, both of us were the same state of mind where, okay, eventually this is going to go towards marriage, this towards marriage. And he, I mean, because we met online, let me just put that out there. Me and my husband met online, so everything was actually put out there. And knowing myself, in our one-on-one conversation, and one of the things it says, "Are you Christian?" But that still doesn't say if the person
he is, like, yeah, right.
Right, yeah. But I did put those things as the stuff on there, and he did go to church and stuff. He and I would go to church. Like, even to be honest, there's sometimes where, because I work third shift, where I come home from work and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna hit the online today. Turn up loud so I can fall asleep in the presence of God. But he is up and dressed, and okay, if you don't go, I'm going. So, so he does his own thing. And I appreciate that. So I think that that's really important, but the people have to, you have to be aligned with what you want. Definitely be on the same page. Because if my husband is at church on Sunday when he's going to do a time and a half, and I really want him to get that time and a half, because I have other goals, then that's not the priority. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah, I got you. So what you think about this statement? It was a Christian married, a career woman that made a statement and said when she got married and had her first child, she realized quickly that she could be the best version of herself while working on her career. She couldn't be the best version of herself of being a wife to her husband, and also be the best version of herself being a mom to her kids all at the same time. So she felt like she was forced to make a choice. So my question is, should all women have the same viewpoint when thinking about getting married, having a family, and having a career?
I'm going to say any Christian woman that has read Proverbs 31, like the Proverbs 31 woman, knows that woman ain't sitting down. Like, she barely has any time for anything. Like, she's literally up before everybody is up. Clanking her garden, and then reaping the stuff from the garden, making clothes, selling the stuff that she picked up from the garden and crafted together in the market. And guess what? Meanwhile, when she's doing all this stuff, going to bed late, cooking dinner, doing all this stuff, her husband is at the gate talking about how good his woman is. Well, she's busting it down.
You know what's ironic about that, though? Because I was actually looking at a study of that and listening to some other people talking about it. And Proverbs 31, the ironic thing about it, they were saying, she was an entrepreneur. She was a great mom at home. Right. She was a great wife. But you know the one thing that they said that pointed out? All of the stuff that she did it at home. When she made her garments and she went to the market, like she worked at home, went to the market for a couple hours, sold her stuff, and then she went back home. Everything was centered around home.
Well, everything is still, I think even with understand if you have a career, I think still everything is centered around home. I mean, when people say, I don't have to work as often. So when people say, oh my gosh, I love going to work. I don't think anyone necessarily, I like being a nurse. I like taking care of people. I like, lifting people up. And it just so happens I get paid for it. But if I could, if I was Oprah Winfrey, I would not be going into the hospital working. I think I would be at home. And I think that women shouldn't feel it's their career-oriented women, so to speak, meaning they have to go out and do work. I don't think they necessarily should feel bad about it. I think that the Proverbs 31 woman she had time management down. So if you have to just go for what you know and what works best for you. If your career, if your job, whatever, is taking, time away from other things, if you're still stressed out, then you might need to cut out some things, reevaluate what it is. It might not necessarily be your job. It might be hanging out with your friends. It might not necessarily be, hanging out with your friends. It might be other stuff. I don't know. You just have to, I think, time management and using time wisely, because you can't get it back. So I think you just have to use your time wisely. Because, like I said, regardless, she still is working. That's why I tell single women, I'm like, you guys, single women are like, oh my gosh, I want to be married so bad. Please be blessed in your time. Appreciate what you have. This marriage thing, that is not like, a big lollipop or whatever. It's not a walk in the park. Marriage is work. And looking at Proverbs 31, she was not stealing. She was not stealing. She was putting in at all times.
I feel you. She's busy.
Yeah. So she was always busy, always for her family, always coming up with ways to, and that's why her children would rise up and call her blessed. That's why her husband was. I just think it's funny that he's like sitting at the gate, like saying, "Yeah, she's a good woman." Like, why we gotta be sitting at the gate? Like, still, it's speaking of all this stuff. I'm like, but it lets you know that marriage ain't needed for the woman. We don't think the man is the head, but you still, we ain't just sitting here, on our butt. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I think, to me, like, with your finances, like, let's say 2 people nowadays, because it's they can't is expensive. If there's 2 people, if you and your husband, if one of you have to go to work to pay for daycare, why? Why? If all your money is for you working is just going to daycare, just stay home with your child or have your husband stay home, whichever way works best for your family. And then you can have that influence over your child.
Yeah, that actually brought up to one of the guys was saying on that show, that him and his wife recently had a child, and she was she worked as a school teacher, and he told her that she can't go back to work until their daughter was old enough. And he agreed that she can go back to work. Like, I don't have an issue with her going back to work. And I understand that she will eventually, he had to accept that eventually she will go back to work. But he felt like, right now our priority is our daughter and her being a nurturer. She needs to be home, take care of the child. And if I got to work extra or do whatever I got to do to provide, for my family. Let me be the one to do that, to make sure finances is good while you are doing that until, you are in a position, our daughter's old enough and you're in a position to go back to work.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's the right way to go about doing it?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think like I said, I would rather have, if it came down to, if I'm working and I'm only making a little overhead and I can have the influence over my child, if I could do it all again, yeah. Oh yeah, I would rather do that. I definitely would rather do that. Yeah, or would. Or if my husband, if it was, I know a nurse that he always was at work and her husband was a stay-at-home dad. And I think that's good too. If that works for their household.
I think that's dope. I don't have a problem with that.
Actually, initially first I thought that was whack, but you know what? Given that how statistics say, a single parent household with the father or a two-parent household with the father and mother, those children excel. It's the ones without a father in the home. So a stay-at-home dad is good. Not saying stay-at-home mom is bad, but I'm saying it ain't. I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think that that's whack. I don't think that that's bad.
I don't think that is bad as long as the man I don't know their relationship, but as long as the husband is the head of his household, to me it doesn't matter if who's out grinding, whatever the case would be, whatever works for them, it works for them as long as he's respected as still the head of his household, and as long as he is in demand of the head of his household. So if he's doing what he got to do, and they came to the conclusion that it was better for her at the point in time to work while he stayed home, I see nothing wrong with that. But as long as she don't take shots at him and saying, "Yo, I'm the one doing it, I'm the provider,"
He did it. She did it, and you're right. You're absolutely right. That makes sense, because honestly, it was me that was like in my mind, like when, because my husband was actually like a tattoo artist and he was a registered nurse. So she was, and they just moved to our state. So it wasn't like he didn't have a clientele. So yeah, she was able to raise the money and just to come in. And it was me that was kind of like, and some other nurses that were kind of like Steiner and like, she's in here. What's the my husband was like, yeah, home. But then it was after I understood. Then I'm like, that's good. That makes sense. That makes more sense for him to do that. If that works for them.
Yeah. And it depends on the type of job that it is. To be honest with you, and I look at me and my wife, if we were in a situation where we had a child, I probably have the more flexibility because I'm my own, I'm an entrepreneur in my own business. Yeah. I have more of the flexibility to be able to be more home with my child and have the flexibility to be around my child until she gets home, and then we switch off and I get to go do work. I can schedule my work around that. So, some people will probably look at that and say, "Oh, he's a stay-at-home dad," but it's really just, being
what
an
works for your family.
Yeah, I have the flexibility. I don't have a job, so I don't have to clock in or do anything. I have the flexibility to make sure that I still can make ends meet and spend time at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they didn't let outside. Like I said, no one. I'm sure she noticed. Like some people was saying, "Oh, so is he not work? On the boss?" Like little small remarks like that. But she wouldn't let it slide off like it was nothing. And like I said, later on, I realized like that works for their family, and it didn't stop me from breathing. So like, why am I upset about it? If she's okay with it, and yeah, she totally respected. When we hung out, yeah, I thought it was cool. Later on, I thought it was cool. At first, I was like,
Yo, so it's time to bring this to a close. I think that the conversation Soul Ties was I think we should even do a part 2 to this one. I think that we covered a lot of things. I'm interested in seeing what some people would say in hearing this conversation. I definitely want to know in regards to what people think about our second discussion, and if they would marry a virgin over 40 or over. That'd be interesting. I actually asked my wife, and at first she was like, she doesn't have a problem with it, but she would be asking questions like, yo, why are you a virgin at 40 years old? Like, do you have like a complex issue? Like, is there something I need to know? Like, she did say that. She said she think that, she said it's cool that, but she would just be wondering, like, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of it is not like most people thinking. I feel like most people thinking would be from a fleshly reason, not spiritual. Not saying, oh, that's beautiful that the person is holding themselves out for God. And so in her response, she was saying that was dope, but it was just like, all right, but what's going on with you? Like, what's up?
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I would love to hear what other people would say. But yo, man, this your boy, Aaron. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. We got Jen in the building. And yo, anybody you want to give a shout out to, Jen?
No, I'm good. Everybody. Hi, everybody. They're cool. No.
All right, that's what's up. I just want to shout out to all the listeners and fans that supporting us, continue supporting us. Hopefully we make some more great content. And eventually we're going to do some video content as well. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, yo, we're going to sign out. We thank y'all for listening, and look out for the next episode. Holla at your boy. Let's get it.